we're seeing that Bitcoin is leading right now, right, in both in dominance and it appears in action throughout the year. And now ETH started to follow in October. Other assets began to follow in October. It was only a matter of time, I believe, until PulseChain follows.
Look how cute that is. This is literally Bitcoin playing out the green line exactly the same way the 2015 fractal. So maybe we get one more spike up here to 50K. 48K is my level, but let's say 48K, 50K rollover, come back and test 36 or something, maybe a wick down to 32, and then continue going into the next summer. But yeah, so let's compare Bitcoin to good old HEX and see kind of how bad that Bitcoin's outperforming some of these other blue chips like Ethereum and HEX.
Now, I know a lot of people's initial reaction is, no, I don't say that. I want it to go up now. No, we don't want it to go up now. At least I don't want it all to go up now. Because remember, guys, the faster these assets rise, the sooner you hit the top, which doesn't give you enough time to develop higher prices.
100%. We want this to take its time and build good, solid market structure, or we're going to end up in the same place we did last cycle where it topped too early. It didn't give the market enough time to come in and play the game. This cycle's played out a lot more like past cycles. Look, here's something very interesting. This is HEX and pink, and you got BTC and ETH, orange and white, respectively. ETH is quite daringly underperforming Bitcoin, but HEX is super underperforming Bitcoin. Well, we know why, right? Because of the massive divestment of economic energy out of EHEX alone and distributing it into 3 to 5 other assets, more if you're including SAC phases. So that makes sense to me. Like, just imagine if we remove, I'm just going to take some fractal from the past. Let's say, I don't know, I'm just going to use an arbitrary thing. Let's say we did something like this from here and turn that into a line chart. I mean, we really wouldn't be that far behind BTC if we would have just, kind of bottomed there and rounded out. We'd be with kind of keeping up with ETH more. But because of that divestment into the other things, EHEX sold off. There was a huge arbitrage opportunity that the market took on. But yeah, so I mean, it looks worse than it is. You have to kind of see what's happening under the hood. Remember now, let me do a logarithmic. Might have to put these on their own scales just to explain what Crispy's saying too about, in a roundabout way, about how HEX likes to do things when the market's doing its own thing. Here you can see back in 2021, HEX went up and topped after BTC and ETH had already, I mean, it was really lagging behind, guys. This whole period here, HEX was really lagging behind. BTC and ETH had already topped in May, and it wasn't until that September that HEX came up and did its massive run. Now, they look similar in shape and that there was a delay, but HEX put in like a huge return from 2 cents-ish all the way up to 50 cents, right? So it's like a 25x from the 2 cent top here versus, BTC, which did like a 2x, 2.5x, or ETH, which did like was that like a 4x, 5x maybe? So yeah, there's a big difference in the multiplier. But yeah, just to know that as we move forward, hopefully we get more of one of these cycles for Bitcoin where it's like a more gradual, methodical, pump, grip, build price structure, pump, build price structure, pump, build price structure. Because HEX has never gotten that. HEX has never gotten a nice, clean Bitcoin bull cycle before. It's only gotten the messed up one from last cycle. Comments on that?
Well, it got me thinking too, what we started with on this, which is, we don't want HEX to go up, too fast, that sort of thing. What is it, like, what is the ideal way for this to play out, like, based on where we are now and what we see?
From a market maker's perspective, it's going to be different from. There's a couple different ways that this could play out, or there may not, but just be one way it should play out. But I think what I would personally like to see is I would like to see this kind of a move where we just leave behind a lot of the people that capitulated these lows. I'd like to see EHEX kind of just like leave everything behind and then consolidate back up in here for the next like 9 to 12 months, between like let's say 3 cents and 10 cents. But realistically, we're probably looking at not quite this big of a move unless something big happened with the SEC case positively. But just like a nice move would be, what I'd like to see is something maybe like a little bit more consolidated, but just a quick bounce up. So something like this, where we just do one of these moves again and get up into that like 3 cent to 1 cent range, 1.5. So if the lows here is around 1.2 cents, the high is around 2.5 EHEX, which would mean PHEX saw 5 cents at the peak. And we can get into that in a second with the price chart. But this would give us a lot of time to create some structure, let the ratios kind of balance out in terms of like where's PulseX, PHEX, and EHEX, where they all kind of at relative to each other during this reconsolidation period. And then perhaps maybe we'll make another move after that to come take out 10 cents. This all goes into next year. And if we go back to the original fractal from January 8th, we can see perhaps what we can expect if it plays out like Bitcoin. Now you see here this big payday dip. So coming up out of here, by 2024, we should be seeing, it's saying here, 1.5 to like 2 to 3 cents, somewhere in here, toward the end of this year, which is where we're at now. And this is pretty spot on. But this would be like the combined price. So you're not actually looking here at just EHEX anymore, because after the fork, which you had here, you got to look at it in combined price terms. So this would be, you're seeing this 1 to 2 cent thing. If we look at the actual combined HEX price, that's where we're at, is 1.5 cents exactly. And so this is kind of how I see this playing out potentially, is like a inverse head and shoulders reversal pattern, or if it's not so violent and maybe Pulse overtakes, some sort of a consolidation in this range before moving up to those, the 2 to 5 cent areas combined.